I am so glad you are here. I'm Liz from Megas Books in Minneapolis and online at megasbooks.com. And this is It Is Alive. So let's get into it. What's happening? Well, let's start with what we're wearing. I do have a beautiful necklace you're not going to be able to see from Chris Wilson. I think I'm going to get this one myself. And then I've got a couple of Crystal Earth's beautiful teardrop style rings. This is my right hand. I've got a tiger's eye, strength, ability to get through your day, all that kind of magic's associated with tiger's eye. And then I've got the more introspective moonstone on my left hand. So more about balancing emotions, finding your intuition, trusting your gut, that kind of thing. And as for what are we drinking, I haven't even taken the tea steeper out of it yet. Tea steeper looks like that. By the way, I recommend this style. If you don't have one, give up on the tea balls. They're awful. So here's what we've got. I've got a little rose hips in here, some ashwagandha, and some green tea. Delicious, delightful. The rose hips add a little sweetness. The ashwagandha should help me get me through my day pretty well. And the caffeine and the theanine from the green tea also kind of add to the day, I think. So that's what we're wearing. That's what we're drinking. Let's talk about what's going on. Let's do them first. Oh, I totally forgot to bring in my reader stuff. I'll do that next. So here's what's going on. So this Saturday, the 29th, if you're looking for a little family escape or shopping escape for that matter, we have Adam's astrology class. This is a drop-in class. This is a class that you can register for in advance or just come to it. It is a by donation class. So even if you're not in a position to be able to pay a normal class fee, you can still attend the class. Even if you just got a few bucks to donate, that's always appreciated. And of course, if you're one of the people attending who could maybe cover that shortfall, that's beautiful too. But that's at 3:00 on this Saturday, November 29th. The following day at 10, we have the Gardnerian pre-initiate stuff happening. That's from 10 to 11. Oh, it's been a real blast. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been interesting to see people's perspectives as they're coming in. Free to join that at any time. It's not even a by donation class, so come on by if you're interested at all in checking out that group. The following Saturday, the 6th, from noon till 2, we're going to have the Alliance Coven here. Alliance Coven is these 3 very thoughtful teachers, really intentional about how they practice, really deliberative, and their classes are always very informative. So I do recommend that you check them out if you're at all interested in just getting a little 101 on your Wicca, witchcraft, paganism, etc. Or if you're interested in finding a group, you can check them out. Same is true for the one coming up this Sunday and one that's going to be starting in January. So we're going to have 3 groups running here. Kind of my dream, honestly, was to be able to provide a platform for a space for multiple groups so you can come and check them all out and not just go by the philosophies of the people, but also the individual personalities, because I think that makes as much of a difference as anything else. You want to check out all the groups you can, and we're going to get into that in a little bit anyway. I'm getting ahead of myself. The following Sunday, December 7th, December 7th, the first Sunday in December, is the Gateway to the Gods class. I might real quick hurry up and order some Blue Lotus and see if it gets here in time. We'll see. It'll be fun, I think. And the 13th, the following Saturday, again, we'll have the Alliance Coven from noon until 2. Also, the herb program. I had so many requests for the herb program after the startup in September that I've scheduled one to start in January. So if you really want to get in depth on your herbal knowledge, come join us in that class. We discuss the research, the folklore, the medicine, the magic. We go through all of it, the personalities of those herbs and how they're reflected in the people best suited to them. It's a fun exploration of herbalism. It goes for 9 months and meets every Tuesday evening at 6, right when we close. So if you're up for it, check it out online and come join us. Also, in the offing, they're not ready yet, but we're getting there, are our fabulous grab bags. I have amassed enough treasures and trinkets that it makes sense to do some grab bags soon. So I went out and bought some bags. and we're going to be marking them up and filling them up probably over the course of the next week and a half. So expect to see those in December. The wonderful Magus Books grab bags are coming back. They're never a steady item. They're always a catch them when you can kind of thing, and you will be able to catch some at some point in December. It should be fun. So that's what's on my schedule. I'm going to remind you about our readers. We currently do not have a rune reader, by the way, because our fabulous rune reader has gotten a full-time gig, which is great, and kept their part-time job. So they're a little wow with the world right now, and they've got a lot of big adjustments to make, and we are so happy for them and so supportive of their steps forward in their life. But we still have readers all the time, whether we're talking about Daryl with his unique personal oracle deck, which is fantastic. It's a treat to experience the deck as well as the reading with him, with Ravenwolf, our fabulous tarot reader and teacher who's teaching Ethics in the Craft coming up in December, Chaos Magic. There's a whole series of classes. He also does something on St. Cyprian the Mage if you're more into ceremonial magic. But his readings are insightful and supportive of your journey and your life's experience. So I do recommend him. And then, of course, we have Eshu. Eshu's in on a number of days. He is an amazing reader. The style of reading is very storyteller oriented, but if you know your tarot, you know he knows his decks. He is also available for palm readings and has taken over our palmistry class that's coming up at the end of the month. So look for these guys. I also have on Saturday afternoons the wonderful Margaret doing readings. She's amazing, as well as Heather, who comes in once a week as well for a half a day. So if you're looking specifically for women readers, Margaret is fantastic. Really, I think a smart, savvy, psychically connected reader worth getting a reading from, definitely. And Heather is this wonderful, highly intuitive new reader who is really just taken off while she's been here. She's a delight to have here, and we're so happy that she's able to read with us. Those are our readers. Let's get on to what's come in. Well, finally, the companion to Llewellyn's Little Book of Moon Spells by Marquis, also by Marquis, the Little Book of Sun Spells is here. And, these are all the rage this time of year because they're such cute little books. They make great gifts. And they come in at $14.99. They're fantastic. If you're looking for easy shopping gifts, these books are scattered all over the store because there's so many topics that this series of books covers. There's one in chakras. There's one, I grabbed the chakras one. There's one on the Day of the Dead. There's one on chakras. There's one on dreams. There's, you name it. There's a book for it. There's one in nearly every section we have in the shop. Totally easy to get. And if those are a little not your speed, but you still want some intro books for people, these are $15.99. It's another whole series of books, again, scattered all over the place because so many authors have contributed and so many subjects have been covered. This one, I grabbed these three because they were all in a row because they were all by the same person and they all come from the same section in our shop, but they're everywhere. Again, dream interpretation, ceremonial magic topics, you name it, there's a book in this series for it. These books are a little bit bigger than these, so they contain just a little bit more info, but they're both valuable starter resources if you're just starting to explore a subject, whether you are new to this whole world or you've been here for ages but just never gotten into the Day of the Dead or never gotten into your chakras and you're just interested. These are good starts. Other things that have come in recently, we're seeing a continuation of the easy divination systems from these guys. We've had the easy Lenormand for a while, but now there's also Easy Tarot that's out, a beautiful reissue. Now, I get asked a lot, what's a tarot, what's a Lenormand, what's an oracle, what is it? So let me tell you, tarot is going to follow your basic tarot layout. It's going to have the 4 suits that eventually became our playing cards. You have hearts in a playing card set. This has cups. It means the same thing. It means it's about love, friendship, emotions. You have, you have spades, the pointy part of a playing, the pointy symbol on the playing card. This has wands. You have diamonds. This has pentacles related to money, and it often is drawn as a coin or looks like a coin, even as a pentacle. And sometimes it's also just coins. Even clearer, right? And you've got, who am I missing? Clubs, wands. And wands are big wooden sticks. They're clubs. I don't know what else to tell you. And in addition to those 4 suits, which have 1 extra face card in them compared to a modern playing deck, there's also something called the Major Arcana, which used to be called the Trumps suit. So if you think about playing cards and you have the Trump card, there used to be a suit of them for some games a long time ago. So the Trumps or the Major Arcana, they can be viewed as telling the story of a human life, starting with the Fool and ending finally with the World. This will take you through tarot gently, easily, get your feet wet, get over any fears or trepidations you have about like the Death card, which is not about dying for most things. It's usually about a big change coming up in your life, not necessarily the end of it. Or the Tower, which by rights is the scarier card, frankly, if you know what you're doing, which means something's coming your way that's not going to be the most fun to go through. But there's so many positives. So this is a great one to go with. An oracle deck, if it's not called a tarot deck, but an oracle deck, it's not following those rules. It doesn't have the Major Arcana suit, and it doesn't have those other 4 suits that became our playing cards, which are also known as the Minor Arcana. Instead, it's got its own rules. You could buy an oracle deck that's 500 cards. You could buy an oracle deck that's 25 cards, because the creator gets to pick how many, what they're related to, and how you use them. Their example layouts might be completely different from anything you've ever seen before. So with an oracle deck, one of the things I like to do is pick topic areas that I'm interested in anyway. I find that valuable. If you want to learn more about crystals and stones and their magical uses and attributes, get a deck that features stones. You will learn as you're reading. It's like a double whammy. 2 gifts for the price of 1. Lenormand would count as an oracle deck because it doesn't follow tarot layout rules. It doesn't have that Trumps suit, that Major Arcana suit. But if you'll notice, Lenormand is based originally on playing cards and reading playing cards. So this has become a system of its own unto itself. I like Lenormand because this comes the closest to what my grandma taught me on a rainy Saturday afternoon when she taught me how to read playing cards because I was bored and hanging out at her house for the day. It's shocking to me how close it is to what Grandma taught me. And Grandma she came to this country in her 30s. So her cultural milieu is not the American one. So kind of fun to get yourself a little easy Lenormand deck if you want to get started in Lenormand. I think it's a really nice system to use. We've also had this one come in. This is a new release. I like this one. I've flipped through it a couple times, and the bits I've read, I've enjoyed. I think this is a useful, there's the back, so you can see the author, Boamani is her last name. Her, they, I don't actually know, and I'm good with that. Whatever actually it says she in the description. I think she's done an outstanding job, though, gathering this information with that eye toward what freedom really means and how we have to achieve it, what liberation is, what freedom is, and why it's important, why it's necessary to the human condition, and why we have to strive for it. I love that about this book. Now, this is not technically a new release, but this format is. So for those of you who love your Enochian magic, this classic now comes in a two-volume box set. We've got the 2 individual volumes on our shelves, and they are going out of print, but the box set is new. So come and grab it if you've got someone on your list who wants that Enochian starter pack or to explore their Enochian workings a little bit more deeply. And then this one is also a new release. This is called Sacred Wild. This is by Elise Wells. Fantastic, centered in the fairy tradition, but really lovely really lovely work about finding your best spiritual allies, your best friends on a spiritual level for growth, for changing your life, for protecting yourself, building relationships, and how to get personal relationships with the things you're using, how to achieve a personal relationship with those crystals that you're using, with that piece of amethyst, to really get to know that individual piece. This is a really nice book on that. It just posits that everything is energy, and because everything has energy, we get to have relationships with these things whenever we want to. So, this book goes through some techniques on how to accomplish that, what you might expect, and how to do it. It's just a really nice intro book on that subject. Highly recommend. Those are our new releases, some of the things that have come out, but I have some new consignment pieces that I have to show you because I think they're adorable and wonderful, perfect for gift giving season. So I have a new line of bath salts. Ooh, let me turn that the right way. Everything's backwards. So, okay, the 11-year-old in your brain. I hear you. It's philautia. This means self-love, taking care of yourself is what this means. That's why she chose this name. It's a beautiful name, beautiful origins. That, by the way, was her smaller container, and this is the Kores Essential. This is her full moon blend. And there's the name again, so you can find it on our website because they are up there. This has got essential oils in it, herbs in it. The salts are beautiful. It's a really nice product. I have some at home myself, and while I have not had the time to take a bath, I absolutely did put a spoonful in water so I could just feel and smell and just experience it. And they're lovely products. I really recommend them. There's the new moon, and then I showed you the full moon. This is the new moon one. Also delightful. And there are seasonal ones that she does as well. So you want to come back and check out when the Yule one's here, when the Imbolc one's here. They're coming. They're just in production. Should be a lot of fun. And I have one other maker who has started bringing in things that I think are amazing and wonderful. So he's calling these spirit balls. You might know them as witch balls. There's a bunch of things they get called. This one is for dreams. They are themed. There's 5 themes. So there's dreams, there's home protection, there's communication and love. And there's one on wealth as well. I forget how it's phrased, but this is, grab that. This one is on communication. Some are bound in yarn, some in twine, some in leather. It actually depends on what the intention is, what they're bound in. But you can see let me bring this one up close. They're filled with all kinds of things. This one's got literally his happy faces in it, as well as herbs and other pieces to just really bring the magic together. And there's one other thing this particular maker is working on, and that are these adorable rune sets. Now, these are cast resin rune sets. I'm going to show you some of the runes in this particular one. So, for example, this one happens to be this sort of bronze color with red lettering for the runes. These are fantastic little sets. There are ones that are sparkly. There are ones that are clear with sparkles. There's just a whole host of them. We do still have the glow in the dark version that are very similar in their size and their make. They're also a resin cast. And in both cases, these locally made sets, in this case, it includes the bag. In that case, it includes the glow in the dark. These are $50 a set. So I think that's a good price for a local maker. Spirit balls are similarly priced. Oh, and if you're wondering about these guys, $30 for the big ones and $15 for the little ones. Just great, great gifts. So I totally recommend you check these guys out here at the shop. These are actually made by the Oracle deck reader that I mentioned earlier, Daryl. Fantastic reader. Do come get a reading from him when you can. He's just a very sweet guy. And he knows it's interesting what he knows and what he knows and won't read, which is I find fascinating. He's done a lot of rune research, but he's like, I'm not a rune reader. He's using his Oracle deck now, but he was a tarot reader for years and years and years. So fun guy, really thoughtful, very sweet, very kind, and really good reader. Really, he read just the card layout when he did his audition with me. revealed things that he could not comprehend what that could possibly be, how that could possibly be in my life, until I gave him a detail from my life, which I did after the reading was over. Because my job, if you're auditioning to be a reader here, is deliberately to be a tough read. I don't use a lot of facial expression. I don't respond much. I'm friendly. I'm nice. I'm just not very visibly open, put it that way. And he did an outstanding job. They're all amazing. They've all auditioned on every modality that they use, and they're just fantastic readers. Well, that, folks, was a lot of time on what's happening, what are we drinking, what are we wearing, and new stuff that's come in. There's a lot of fun stuff. We did a TikTok on the rune sets yesterday, and I've got 3 of them in. So check that out if you want to see one of those a little more up close. And these guys will be on the Tickety Talkety today, so to feature them. And probably these lovely pieces will be on tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, Friday. Why? We're not open on Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving here tomorrow. I have to be up early baking bread rolls and making cranberry sauce to go to my extended family's holiday. And I already have all the ingredients for the most sacred part of Thanksgiving in my immediate family, which is the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. Not familiar? Watch the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special, the really classic one, not the one where they're trying to teach you history. The one where they're talking about social relationships. They're trying to make people better at relating with each other. Charlie Brown gets hooked. He gets conned, unintentionally perhaps, but conned into providing a Thanksgiving feast for some of his friends. And the party keeps growing and growing without any of his input, consent, and none of it. And Charlie Brown wants to make people happy. He's a people pleaser at heart, so he does the best he can. There's not going to be a Thanksgiving at his house. He's going to his grandmother's with his family, and he doesn't cook. He's a school-aged kid. He's 8 years old or so, at least in my head. So he's making buttered toast and serving ice cream with whipped cream and candied cherries and pretzels and popcorn and what am I missing? I'm missing a thing. Tell me in the comments. You guys will know. But we have always, because we've never hosted Thanksgiving at our house, despite offering to at times, our way of handling that was we're going to goof off. We're going to do the goofiest thing we can think of for Thanksgiving. We're going to have a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. And then we'll go have Thanksgiving usually it was with both sets of in-laws when my mother-in-law was still alive and when my husband was still alive, frankly. But it's always been a fun part of our holiday experience. Maybe we rewatch the Snoopy specials, all of them. We'll just play all of them if we can, even the boring ones that are about Thanksgiving and centered on that whole thing. It's interesting to watch the history one now and talk about what it really means and how it really impacted not just the European, like the Dutch and the British, who were the early arrivers to really have an impact in New England, but what it meant to the people who were already there and the nations that lived there and their impact on those folks. Most people don't even seem to realize, if they're American, that the first form of government adopted by the United States of America was inspired by the government of some of the allied Native American nations in New England. You can Google it. I promise it'll be out there somewhere. I can't promise the validity of all the information online, but yeah, you can probably find this somewhere. At least this is what I was taught as a small child, but I was a small child very close to New England, to be fair. But as far as topics today, I thought we would talk about general advice for folks as they're continuing on their journey. It's interesting to me that when people get to a certain point in their journey with their religious practices, that they might get very frustrated by what they view as the limitations of their path. I'm going to say those limitations are self-imposed, that you can do anything within any religious path, within any reasonable request. The one that really struck me when it became fashionable was all of these people leaving the Wicca, witchcraft, pagan world to go look at various practices, including Santeria, in which people are ridden by their gods. And I looked at that and I said, well, that happens in paganism. What do you mean that doesn't happen in paganism? I've experienced that and I don't understand. Because to me my path wasn't a barrier to that experience. In fact, it was an enhancement of that experience. I really looked at those folks a little funny. I didn't object to them exploring Santeria and those other paths. I think that's fantastic. Do that, but not to ridicule the path you're on. I think that's very self-defeating and self-critical in a really unhealthy way. So I always look at other spiritual paths. I think it's healthy. I think it's a good idea. I appreciate the folks who come here, buy some books, maybe meet up with some folks, do exploring, and then 3 or 4 years later, wind up back where they started because they figured out that the way their parents raised them is the way they actually want to move forward in life. But they know that with a certainty, with an assuredness they cannot gain if they don't explore. And I would say the same is true for everybody. So if you're getting a little, I don't know if this is right for me, you know what? You may have outgrown your version of it. You might need to move on, or you might need to look at inspiration from other perspectives, other places. That can mean attending some classes. It can mean reading some books, watching some videos, but keep your exploration up. Keep reading, keep thinking, because when it becomes entirely rote, it's going to start to fade in power to a degree. I like things that can be rote. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that I can do ritual with my coven mates in silence, and we'll get the timing right for everything because we understand what we're doing and we can focus our energy on all of it without needing the auditory triggers to do it. That's fantastic. And that's a level of depth that I value and really appreciate. But at the same time, you want to challenge it with some new ideas. So if you're at that intermediate or advanced level and you're not quite feeling it, do explore, do go out, but don't think that you can't take those ideas back to your spiritual home base. I think you can. And for those of you who are just getting started, there are so many videos on people, and I've done them, for people just getting started and feeling easily overwhelmed by all of this stuff. Don't be. Your path is your path. I don't know, I just said, just don't let it. You understand that your path is your path, your pace is your pace, and you don't have to. That's it. That's the whole sentence. You don't have to. There's nothing that you have to accomplish, nothing you have to get done. You don't need to be validated by anybody but yourself and your relationship with your deities. That's the only validation that's truly required in life. Now, do many people find it valuable to get validation from others? Yeah. And if you value that, is it a worthwhile endeavor? Yeah, absolutely. We all need some level of outside validation. As long as it's healthy and the relationships you build are healthy, I say go forward with it. Now, that can mean that you visit lots of groups at their public rituals. And if they have private ones that are like members only kind of things, that you may never get to any of those. That's allowed. That's why they have those public rituals, is to let people explore. Are they hoping that maybe they'll boost their own private membership? Sure. But that doesn't mean that they're going to want you to become a private member, nor does it mean you will want to become a private member. They get to think for themselves just like you, so it's got to be a match all the way around. So don't stress about finding a group. You might not. You might wind up creating a group a few years in. What should you do if you're going to create a group? Honestly, look a little bit at resources on teaching other adults. You're a teenager? Okay, other teens. That's fine. Because there is a difference between, say, family relationships or just your friendship group and running a group where maybe somebody's expecting you to know a little bit more than them and teach them a thing or two. If it's just you and your friends all learning together, that's great. You've already got a social dynamic. That's perfect. But if you're going to be taking new folks in, you want to look again at how to treat people who are not already in your friendship group or are not already in your family, and how to make it so that they will find welcome in your space so they can add what's wonderful about them to your group, and you can add to their lives what's wonderful about your group for them. So I shy away from the parent-child image of what it is to be a coven leader. I'm not your mommy. And one of my covenanters once said, well, okay, if you really want to apply the mommy thing to you, you're not the mommy I go to because I have a boo-boo. You're the mommy I go to because you'll show me how to use a knife. All right, fair dues. Yeah, I'm gonna teach you how to defend yourself magically. I'm gonna teach you how to use the magical tools you've got at your disposal more than I am going to hug you because you got a boo-boo. Because I'm not your mommy. You have one of those, and I don't want to replace that person not volunteering for the gig. And there is enough transference in these working groups, I find, that it's awkward enough at times without doubling down on that. And if it works for you, great, go for it. Fight me in the comments. I'm good with that. I just find it's not conducive to the healthiest relationships possible. So I would recommend shying away from that personally. If it's what you do, well, you do you. What can I say? So if you're just starting out, my advice is always the same. Visit all the groups. Visit all the groups you can because you're looking for philosophical and personality matches. You want to hang out with these people, so personality matters. And you also want something that's going to build your personal philosophies in directions you want them to go. Sort of like reading a book over and over again because you find it sort of helps you be a better person because you read that book. You explore ideas each time you read that book because it's complex enough to sustain your intellect and your imagination. Same thing with these people. They need to be people that you want to hang with. They've got to be a little bit like that favorite novel if you've got one. They also need to match your philosophies and what you're interested in studying. But I honestly think of that as secondary to the personality issues. So I say go for it if you've got that in front of you. Visit everybody you can. Can't find a lot of people in your area to visit? That's okay. You can also explore online. There are plenty of people up my line, and yeah, I have a lineage, who, sorry, I'm just getting a little more tea in my tea, who started with mailing people, physically mailing letters to people because this was pre-internet. It's probably in the 1970s would be my guess, maybe slipping into the 1980s. But literally, there's no one in my area. I found this book. I am going to write to the person who wrote the book because their address is in the back of the book and it just came out. Great. They exchange letters for a while because the person takes them seriously enough to answer. And they wind up eventually saving up some money, flying to them, getting their initiation done. Maybe even their elevation. It really depends on the people involved. It's okay to start long distance. You kind of need to be there for the initiation process. As far as I have ever heard, yeah, you're probably going to have to at least show up for that. I also, up my lineage, have a whole long list of people that would have to drive for a few hours to go to where they were in training. And what that meant in one case, and I thought this was smart, was when they were first degrees, they had to go every full moon. They just went once a month. They made this trek with their whole family. They brought their kids, the whole thing. Then when they were seconds, they only went to the Sabbats. So they only went 8 times a year, but they got to see the rituals they weren't seeing when they were showing up at full moons necessarily. And then third degree, they hived off and they left, frankly. So there are a myriad of ways of getting training. And if you talk to people who are inflexible about it, that's okay. It's their coven, their rules. They get to play by them. Keep looking. It just means you haven't found your tribe yet. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just keep the lookup. You'll find better folks for it. You'll find the people who are right for you, at least for that time in your life. And if that means that you hive off and you run your own group 5 years later because it's where you are in your life, that's great. If it means you leave saying, thank you, I had a valuable experience here, but I think I need to explore something else, that's fine too. There's nothing wrong with any of those choices. Just think them through and go day by day, and you will get there. You'll succeed. It doesn't matter that the person sitting on your right-hand side knows everything there is to know about crystals, and the person on your left-hand side knows everything there is to know about astrology. I know enough about astrology to make up excuses for my personality. That's it, really. I know what a trine is. I know the lingo, but I'm not an astrologer by any stretch of the imagination. Do you know who one of the people in my coven does? There's someone in there who is brilliant at astrology. I value their input on it because they're going to have a much deeper understanding than I will. Conversely, if they're asking about herbal magic, they're going to come to me. That makes us a great duo on Magical Workings. She can time it. I can bring some herbal ingredients. Life is fabulous. Got another covener who's brilliant about other subjects, and we value that person's input as well. It's just every single one of us has our own unique interests. And because that, when we come together, we are mightier and more powerful magically, socially, psychologically, spiritually, you name it. We're better because we work together. We're better because we're a team on this one aspect of our lives. It doesn't mean we all don't have our own personal practices. It doesn't mean we don't have our private workings. We do. But it means that when we come together, we're amazing. And it's such a joy then to work with these folks. We're so simpatico on so many levels. It's wonderful. So don't give up the search if you're still searching for a group. Don't give up if you're feeling overwhelmed by all the things you could possibly know. Pick one and study it. If it's tarot, great. Get that tarot deck. Oops, sorry, tarot deck fell. Is it Lenormand? Do you really want to get a little folksy with your cartomancy? Great, grab this one. Maybe it's going to be you're going to know everything there is to know about something like color magic. Get color magic under your belt first. Ignore everything else and just focus on it. Have fun with it. And then when you've got that solidly, securely, you're like, yep, I have a good grounding in this. I really know what I'm doing. Move on to the next thing that fascinates you. If you want to level up two at a time, it just takes a little longer to level up in both of them. But go for it. Have fun with it. The whole point of any religion is to do two things. One is to challenge you to be a better person. And yeah, you should be doing that. But the other one is to provide you with joy in your life. And quite frankly, if your life is devoid of joy and you're not being challenged to be a better person in positive and healthy ways, you are in the wrong religion. Walk away. Find something that suits you better. You will be happier for it. Your family will ultimately be happier for it. The world will be a better place because of it. Find the things that bring you joy and use them to help you become a better person. It's so much easier when you're in a joyful place. Now, I have blathered on long enough about these subjects, at least for today. So, on behalf of myself and everyone here at Magus Books and Herbs in Minneapolis, you know it, 2520 Central Avenue Northeast, and online at magusbooks.com, we all thank you for being your best magical you, and of course for doing the little magical things that you can do here for us. You know them, you love them. Spend your points, your likes, your shares, your comments. Let us have it. I love reading them, love reading the comments, love seeing all of it. In the meantime, have a fantastic Thanksgiving and a wonderful week, and we will see you all here real soon. Blessed be.